بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Inshallah ta'ala, we are continuing our class of Fiqh of Fasting, and today inshallah ta'ala we want to talk about the allowance for the pregnant women or a nursing mother to be able to break their fast. And we will inshallah ta'ala split this topic into two videos because it's a very detailed topic and it has so many branches to it, and also difference of opinions among the scholars pertaining to the issue of what do we do after, or what do they do after they break their fast. So to break it in segments so we don't get confused, let's talk about what the scholars agree upon. What the scholars agree upon is that a pregnant woman or a nursing mother, both, by consensus, they have the allowance to break their fast. So let's say the first question: is a pregnant woman or a nursing mother allowed to break their fast? The answer is yes, by consensus, when it pertains to, or not pertains, when they are eligible to do so. And when are they eligible to do so? It's very simple, very similar to a sick person, meaning that a pregnant woman should first consult with her physician that uh, whether fasting would harm her pregnancy or not. If the answer comes back yes, because of her record, that's one, if that's first pregnancy. If it's like second or third pregnancy, she knows her body very well. She went through fasting and she know that she got really exhausted, very tired, or that she didn't get any problem, she didn't get exhausted or anything. So if it based on experience or on a consultation with her physician, then the answer, if it comes back that yes, it does harm her pregnancy, then she is allowed to break her fast. Same goes with the nursing mother, that if the physician, her physician, tells her that you need a lot of nutritions and what have you, and you cannot be fasting while you are nursing. So, or again, based on experiences, when she tried it in the past, she got really, really tired, and the baby was not fed well. So, based on that, the answer is yes, they are allowed to break their fast based on consultation with their Muslim credible physician pertaining to the health of their pregnancy or to the nursing of their child, or based on previous experiences for the pregnant woman and the nursing mother. So that's by consensus. We're done. So a short answer: by consensus, yes, a pregnant woman and a nursing mother are allowed to break their fast if they know that fasting will harm their health or the health of their child. So that's first thing that we want to finish today, inshallah. Now, let's talk about second question: how do they make it up? So again, the scholars agreed on one thing, and that is, one second, let me just make sure that. So let's take the question of what the scholars agreed upon first. So we make it, we break it down to make it simple, inshallah, or less confusing. I don't know if it's going to be simple, but less confusing, inshallah ta'ala. But inshallah, as we repeat this together, inshallah ta'ala, it will become simple and not as confusing. So the scholars also agreed that if a pregnant woman or a nursing mother broke their fast and they want to make it up, they agreed that if they broke their, like, let's say a pregnant woman broke her fast, or a nursing mother broke her fast to feed her child, if they both broke their fast because they were afraid on themselves. So a pregnant woman was afraid on her own health. So it wasn't really the nutrition for the child, but her own health. She experiences very hardship when she fasts during her pregnancy. A nursing mother is the same thing. She broke her fast because she goes through a very difficult time of exhaustion and what have you. If she breastfeed during her fast and what have you. So both of them broke their fast because they're afraid on themselves, on their own health. So on the female herself, whether a pregnant female or a nursing female, they're just afraid on their own health, not the baby. So the agreement among the scholars that to make it up is to just make up those days later on. So that's second question. Again, to make it short, the answer: how would a pregnant woman and a nursing mother who broke their fast during the month of Ramadan make up those days? The answer is just to make up those days later on by agreement of the scholars. When the reason for them breaking their fast was because they were afraid on their own health. So that's second question. Now the third question would be, how would a pregnant woman or a nursing mother make up their missed days if they broke their fast being afraid on their child? Meaning that's the question. Just to explain it more, meaning that their health, their own health is fine. A pregnant woman knows that she's fine. She's tried it before and she's good. She wasn't fainting, she wasn't exhausted, she wasn't feeling sick or anything. She was fine. She was just fine, alhamdulillah. Same thing with the nursing mother. She was just fine. And she knows based on experiences, she was fine and no issues. However, they were advised by their physician that they need to break their fast because, despite the fact that they are fine, the child will not be fine. Of course, based on records, they see that the child is not getting enough nutrition and what have you, and still it needs some like a very healthy diet, and fasting would not come to help that. So they broke their fast because they were afraid on the child, not on themselves. Now, how do they make it up? This is where the scholars differed and differed in really details. So inshallah ta'ala, today we are going to uh, to talk about the some of them, inshallah ta'ala, and we will continue tomorrow, inshallah. Now, the first opinion is, and it talks about the makeup. Al-qada' faqat wa la it'ama alayhima. Now, the first opinion is that the answer is for them to make up the missed days, and there is no it'am, there is no fidya on that, there is no kafara. Okay, so they don't need to feed any they don't need to feed poor people on the mess days. So just make up, just to make up those days. This opinion is the opinion of the school of Ahnaf, the Hanafis, and also from the Sahaba, the opinion of Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib. Now, second opinion. Second opinion is that only fidya, the only thing that they need to do is to pay fidya. That's all. They don't even need to make up any of those missed days. And that is the opinion from the Sahaba of Sayyidina Ibn Umar and Sayyidina Ibn Abbas. They said that they need to just pay the fidya and that's all. They don't even need to make up the days. We will, inshallah ta'ala, later on give their proofs and their dalil. The third opinion is that there is a fidya due and there is a qada due. There is a fidya due and there is a makeup due. And that is the opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad. The fourth opinion is that that's the opinion of Imam Ibn Hazm, that he said there is no makeup and there is no fidya. There is basically nothing. She just breaks her fast and she doesn't need to do anything. The fifth opinion is that the pregnant women, I tried to break those down on my notes so I can make it as simple as possible for you. So that's why I'm going really slow so you don't get really confused. So the fifth opinion is that the pregnant women, she makes up the missed days and she does not have to pay fidya. The nursing mother, she makes up the missed days and she also pays fidya. And that is the opinion of Imam Malik. Remember, those are all pertaining to a pregnant woman and a nursing mother that broke their fast because they were afraid on their child. Yani they were afraid on the health of their child, not on their own health. They were fine to fast, but they just broke it because that's what the physicians told them. So now these are the basically what I got to summarize. Those are the 5 opinions on this particular case where they broke their fast because they were afraid on the health of their child. Now let's talk about the evidence on the first opinion. The evidence on the first opinion. Remember, the first opinion we said is that they need to just make up the fast. So under the first opinion, we are going to now give the proof. And there are many, but I wanted just to summarize something for you in this particular class for you just to know like a basic proof of each opinion, inshallah ta'ala. So the very first proof is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared in Surah Al-Baqarah that in general fasting is an obligation on everyone. So it's an obligation. It has to be done. If it's not done, then there has to be something to rectify it, to make up for it. It just can't be left with no actions. So their first opinion is the general ayah of Surah in Surah Al-Baqarah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم, toward the end of the verse that we have shared in the beginning of this series. which is in Surah Al-Baqarah, the same verse 183. Now, again, there has to be something to rectify it. And the something to rectify it would be very similar to somebody that broke the fast of the rulings that we learned in the past, which is someone who's sick, right? Someone is getting that pregnant woman has to either go through that she is exhausted, she feels tired, she feels hardship, so she's going through some type of sickness, and because of that she makes up those days, just similar to a marid, a sick person. Now if she was afraid on her child, she's not going through that, but it's the same, concept. Now, to say that she doesn't have to do anything, it can't be. She has to make it up. So they believe that that's the only way, because you cannot drop the ruling and you cannot add anything to it, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the verse said that it is a must on them. And then in the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the following verse, which is 184, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that those who are able to fast in general, there is nothing to prevent them from fasting, but something temporarily came to prevent them. Travel, sickness, pregnancy, nursing. So something came just as a side reason to stop them, from fasting. But it's not something terminal and forever and chronic. So it falls under that category. Because it's temporary, then they need to make up exact same thing. That's their opinion. Now, the conclusion of is that the general verse that we must fast, exception if something temporary comes to prevent that person from fasting, or allowance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give, like for the traveler. What's direct? How would they make it up? They would just make it up later on. So there has to be a makeup. They can't just drop the ruling and say, well, they don't need to do anything. So that's one side. Second side, you don't add anything to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say a fidya needs to be put. Somebody who travels and misses some days has to just make it up. There is no fidya on that person. Someone that gets sick and misses some few days, they just have to make it up later on, and they don't need to pay fidya on it. Same thing goes for a pregnant woman and a nursing mother. Even if they were afraid on the health of their child, they would do the same thing. We cannot add to it anything of saying, oh yeah, she needs to make it up and also pay fidya. We cannot give two worship acts in replacement of one. They said we cannot do that. So they missed the worship act of fasting. To rectify it, it has to be either making up those days or paying fidya. And here they don't see anything besides making up those days, because they're able to make it up later on. It's not an eternal thing. It's not a chronic sickness. So we cannot consider the issue of fidya. So that's in bulk, of course, with many details, the opinion of the first group. Remember, we're talking about the 5 opinions. Now, also a third dalil proof, I think I have to share with you, because that's a very important hadith that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and this is we're going to use a lot, that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, إن الله عز وجل وضع عن المسافر شطر الصلاة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the allowance for the traveler to shorten his or her prayer. وعن المسافر, also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the traveler the allowance والحامل and the pregnant woman, والمرضع and the nursing mother, الصوم أو الصيام. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gave the allowance for the traveler, for the pregnant woman, for the nursing mother to drop the fast during that period of time, and which means that they would make it up later on. So that's the also dalil from the saying of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, that is for the first opinion. For the second opinion, remember, we said the second opinion talked about only giving what? Giving um, fidya only as to rectify for the missed days. Fidya only, there is no makeup days. They again used the same. Remember the verses. This is how amazing how people differ in opinion and how they extract rulings from the same dalil. So they use the same verses, of Surah Al-Baqarah 183, 184. But it's just the different opinion how they looked at it. They said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ, remember, فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Now, it was said that the sick person who's going through a terminal illness, chronic illness, and the elder person, the one that we talked about in the previous video, those, they cannot, it's terminal. They cannot fast during Ramadan, and they cannot make it up later on. So remember, we said from the Sahaba, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar talked about this issue, and they carried this opinion. So they said a pregnant woman and a nursing mother are exactly similar in this situation and in this category. You know, this is where it's very interesting. So you would say, why would they put in that category where the other scholars didn't put it in that category? And the answer is, they looked at it from the culture and the urf, the custom. At that time, a pregnant woman, this is the norm. You know, there was no issue of the issue of having pregnancy, like frequent pregnancy and then nursing and free. So it's right after each other. So it's not like something that would happen one time pregnancy and then it would be separated by like 3-4 years of taking a rest or what have you, like nowadays, or what have you. No, there wasn't, like the culture was that, you know, women just get pregnant, very frequent, and then followed by nursing, then pregnant. So they're looking at it, this is terminal. This is going to go on and on and on. By the time she settles, it's going to be years and years of fasting of Ramadan that she never fasted, or for the nursing mother as well. So to come and say for her to make up like 5 years of missed Ramadan, it's going to be, or 10 years of missed Ramadan, it's just going to be almost impossible. That is way too much on that mother, on that lady, on that pregnant lady. So they considered the situation according to their custom, that it falls under that, and because it falls under the chronic illness and the terminal illness of going through hardship, that they cannot do it during Ramadan and they cannot do it later on. Maybe they can do it after 10 years when they absolutely stop all their pregnancy and nursing and what have you. But that's going to be 10 months, and that is almost impossible for anyone to be able to make up that. So they said it just gets dropped. All they need to do is to pay fidya, and that's it. So yes, there is analogy, some type of ijtihad, qiyas on the situation of a chronic illness. Yes, but they're looking at it with the reality of what really a pregnant woman goes through, which toward the end of the course, or like the series of this, we will inshallah use this clause in order to give preference of opinion. We will say in this class we will adopt such and such and such, inshallah. But remember this clause, very important. Now, of course, we are going to tackle some of these opinions in short tomorrow, but this is just today to give you, inshallah ta'ala, heads up on the opinions, inshallah. Now, let's talk about the third opinion, or the third, yes, the third opinion. Bismillah. Now, the third opinion that talked about makeup and also fidya at the same time. They said that they make up because they are considered to be sick, like a sick person, an ill person. They broke it because of a reason of illness or hardship, and they need to make it up. So that's their answer for that, which the rest of the scholars, like the first opinion, not the second, the first opinion, because the second said nothing. There is no makeup days. All they need to do is just to give fidya, no fasting. But this opinion, the third one, would align with the first one. However, so they said that they have to make it up. Now, what's the opinion for them to say that they need to pay fidya as well? Because the ayah doesn't say that, remember, except the second opinion that drops the fasting because they aligned it with the chronic illness. But here, this opinion, the third one, says make-up days and also fidya. So they say also fidya because it's based on actions of some scholars, some Sahaba, and they believe that the actions of the Sahaba are a proof by itself. So they consider that to be the dalil. So they make up the days and they also do the fidya. And the fourth, inshallah ta'ala. The fourth opinion. So we can cover all the fifth. The fourth opinion. Remember, the fourth is like very, very awkward opinion. The fourth said no makeup and no fidya. That's only Imam Ibn Hazm that said. Okay, what's his proof? His proof in general says that there is no, this is worship act. And for worship act to be done, it has to have a clear proof. For it not to be done, it has to have clear proof. You cannot just make any ijtihad without a proof. So he said, rahimahullah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dropped this when Prophet Muhammad clearly explained the ayah that they must fast when they are in normal situation. Something abnormal came to prevent them from fasting, and Prophet Muhammad said in the hadith that I shared with you in the first opinion, said that the traveler has the allowance to drop what? To drop fasting, and the pregnant women and the nursing mother to drop fasting, right? Now, the traveler will make it up because that was just for convenience. The the pregnant women and the nursing mother, they did not drop it for convenience. So to him, he's not making analogy that the three categories are the same. He said this one has to make it up because it's out of convenience. The pregnant women and the nursing mother, remember, because we talked about this branch, that they're afraid on themselves or on their child. It's not like for convenience. He said because it was not based on convenience, you cannot make any analogy or qiyas on the traveler. So Prophet ﷺ said, drop. Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dropped, which means it drops. There is no makeup for it. Of course, tomorrow, inshallah, we will discuss, this opinion. Is it strong opinion? Is it really based on really clear proof and what have you? So Imam Ibn Hazm wants a clear-cut proof to say that would go against the word drop, that it's drop doesn't mean here that the worship would drop completely, but it means that you have to make it up later on, or you have to pay fidya. He says there has to be a proof, like a clear-cut proof for that, and he says I didn't see any. طيب, Bismillah. Now, the last one before we end today's session, inshallah ta'ala. Now, the last opinion, remember, the one that says it's a must on the pregnant lady to make up the mess days, only make up the days. And then they said on the nursing mother, it's make up days and fidya at the same time. They said that the nursing mother has to, of course, the pregnant woman, the proof is what we used for the other scholars' opinion. Now, what's the proof that the nursing mother has to make up and also pay fidya? They said because the nursing mother broke her fast for a different illah, for a different reason than the pregnant women. And it's a different reason than a sick person and a traveler. Now, they said it's separate. Pregnant women, she broke her fast because of either because she was afraid on her own health, or she was afraid on the health of her child. Both are pertaining to her health, because whether it's her own health or the health of her child, remember, the child is part of her. The child is inside her body. So to them, the health really are the same, even if she feels okay, but the child is taking part of her health. So they're really they coincide together. They just cannot be separated. So whether she's afraid on herself or on her child, it's the same issue. So it's part of her, whether it's her health or the health of her child. Because if the child, go through hardship and gets the child gets sick because of that, it's gonna make the mother get sick as well. So that goes into the marid, like a sickness. It's really about sickness. It's all about exhaustion, about fatigue and whatever. It's about less health. So that really analogy of qiyas is similar to a sick person. That's why they said it's a makeup. Now they differed. A nursing mother is different. And they said a nursing mother is just it's not about the health or anything. It's all about she wants to feed. There is nothing really. She's just solely afraid on the child, not on her health. Yani meaning that she's a nursing mother. Uh, all what's going to happen about herself, that when she start breastfeeding and what have you, yeah, she might feel a little bit tired, but that we agreed from the beginning, that does not give her allowance to break her fast. Just feeling down, feeling fatigue. It's like we're going through fasting now. You feel down, you feel tired, or you feel like you're not as energized. That does not allow us to, even if you feel a little bit dizzy, like lightheaded and what have you, or very tired and you want to take a rest, that's like agreed upon. They cannot break their fast. So the nursing mothers, they break their fast solely for the benefit of the child, because they were told by their physicians that the child needs nutrition, needs all type of nutritions, food. We just cannot drop that. And she broke her fast just solely because of her child. So she was actually able to, and she's really able to fast. It's just because she was told, and that's why she needs to make up the days for breaking the days of fast, which she's allowed to, as we said. So she makes them up. And because it did not pertain to her like a pregnant woman, it did not pertain to her health like a pregnant woman, it pertained only to the health of the child. That's why she needs to not only make up the days, but also pay fidya, because it is very similar to somebody that is like the elder, that is able to do, but as they push themselves to do it, it's going to hurt something, and that's going to hurt their health. It's going to help the health of the child and what have you. So that's why they feel that the women, the nursing mother, needs to make up the days and to also pay fidya. That's it for the five, inshallah ta'ala, opinions. Inshallah, of course, tomorrow we will discuss the dalil and the proof pertaining to that. Jazakumullahu khairan. And like the answers on those proofs, we gave the proof today, but the answers from the other scholars on the opinions of the five categories. And then we are going in the class to adopt an opinion, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan, barakallah feekum for your patience. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah.